Man, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all infinite honors, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakwakwadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, and to the other Akim out here pushing this truth into the four winds. Keep pushing Akim. We almost out of here, man. Okay? And this lesson, we're just going to basically go into the things that's happening, the things that's occurring. And you're going to be forced to tune in to the prophets because things that's happening in the news is not going to be able to properly explain it. Right? I was talking to an older family of mine, an older family member of mine about a week ago. And, I was tripping, but I was kind of, just telling them things that's coming and what to expect. And we started talking about the 25% tariffs that Trump was putting on Mexico and Canada, right? And she responded by saying he's rescinded that. He took that off. Not even 3 or 4 days later, it went from 25% to 250%. Okay? So at the end of the day, you're going to know a prophet by the things that they prophesy via Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus and God, man. And we speak with this Bible. This is the connection. This is what he left behind for us as a reference guide and as his word, man. But I'm gonna open up with Luke 12:2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. So it's a lot of stuff. Like, you just go on Google, you go on YouTube, you go on BitChute, you run into people throughout your normal everyday life, and topics come up that used to be taboo, right? I don't want to get deep into certain topics because those are different conversations for different days, right? But let's just deal with this 25% tariffs and what it's going to end up causing. Let's deal with that because it's a plethora of other things that's being exposed, right? The system as a whole is being exposed. Esau is being exposed. Lies throughout history have been exposed, but we're going to deal with these tariffs because these exposed lies go back into prophecy. These exposed lies go back into what I just read, and it goes deeper and further into it, and let's get into it today. But these tariffs upon Mexico and upon Canada, it's going to ultimately cause inflation, hyperinflation, and things of that nature. And America, another thing that's prophesied, she's isolating herself. And that's why the scripture says that, speaking of Great Britain, they're going to turn on one another. I don't know what Canada did for Trump to want to do that to Canada, right? Some of the most peaceful motherfuckers out here. But prophecy has to unfold, okay? And it makes sense. I'm going to read it one more time. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. So, in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, not speaking as a man, I'm about to make a prophecy right now. And I got it from the Bible. Trump just got into it with the Ukrainian president, and they keep on saying he's favoring Russia. Well, I'm telling you, I don't care what happens temporarily, Russia and America are going to be what they have traditionally been. Rivals until the end. Trump's relationship with Putin, and it may be just for show, but it's not going to become a friendship that lasts. Russia is going to blow America off the face of the earth. America's allies are going to turn on her. These things are prophesied in the scriptures. Right here, right now, because we know what's happening, we see where it's going. But you people don't get it. So let's prophesy right now and let's tell you, Trump and Putin are not going to get all cozy and friendly to the point where Russia changes its minds and changes its allies and unite with America and they become friends. That's not going to happen. The scripture says that Russia is going to destroy America off the face of the earth. And you can take that to the bank. America's allies, the powerful ones, are going to turn against her. And I can tell you for sure, Britain. And you can take that to the bank and cash it. I'm not speaking as a man. I'm speaking as an oracle right now. Because this Bible told me everything that's transpiring in the world that we're living in. Okay? Neither hid that shall not be known. And time is going to prove who's right, and time is going to prove who's wrong. Okay? Let's deal with those tariffs. Because those tariffs, if you have understanding, is in the Bible. Because we know what those tariffs are ultimately going to manifest into. Okay? This is Revelation 6. And I'm going to start from the top. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts say, "Come and see." I'm trying to let this alarm go off. Let's go, man. And I saw and beheld a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Now this is talking about Esau Edom. This is talking about the system of the world right here, right now. But this is not the point of this passage that I want to, basically elaborate to you. Let's go to verse 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And those balances goes back into the economic system. In modern times, it goes back into the economy. It goes back into Wall Street. It goes back into the stock market. Let's see what it says about it. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Now this was written 2,000 so years ago. So a modern penny and that penny don't have the same value. A modern penny is basically worthless. The penny that they was talking about goes into the Greek word denario. I want to say denario, right? And not to make this too long, it basically goes into a day's pay, a day's wages. Okay? 8 hours worth of work equals a penny. So let's just say that yesterday's penny 2,000 years ago, let's translate it into today, modern day. And when you're doing averages and numbers, because different races, different groups of people, different nations, they make different amounts of numbers. But when you group them all together, and we're not all the same, you come to an average. But let's just do this. Let's base it off of the army, right? Let's just say $125 a day. Maybe 120, maybe even 100. Let's add that up real quick. 100 times 30 is 3,000. 3,000 times 10 is 30,000. You add that up, those other 2 months, that's 36K. So that's a little short. So let's just say $150 a day. Let's just say $150 is the penny, right? Let's see what that penny gets you. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. All right. So that's going into a, a basic meal for the day. And I don't mean to say meal, but food for the day. So that's going to get you 3 meals. $125 will get you 3 meals in the time that we living in right now. And it's a rough estimate, especially where I'm living down south. I'm sure it'll be cheaper, but you got to make the averages for New York, California, things of that nature. And that's why numbers are so important. Okay? They can't be argued against. They're objective. But just think about that. You're spending all your money on food. What about your car insurance? What about your rent? What about your mortgage? What about your private school payment? What about your clothes? What about your food? I mean, Salakia, that is taking care of your food. But just, what about everything else? See, because food and water is the necessity of all necessities when you're dealing with man. It's more important than shelter. That's where you're going to send your monies first. So a lot of people are going to end up homeless. Working people that make decent wages. Elon Musk is talking about, and you can say that he doesn't run that Dodge Department of Government Efficiency. Officially, he might not be the head, but he's the head. You heard what his son said about Trump. These are conversations that was overheard by his little young ass. Okay? Social Security will more than likely be done away with or altered to a point that where millions of Americans will be affected, and it's going to cost them to lose their housing. These people don't own the houses they live in. When they walk down the street and they have that homeless person on the side of the road, and that American looks down on him and say, get your ass up and go get a job, he's less than 30 fiscal days from being in that same situation. And when I say 30 fiscal days, he's less than 30 financial or money days away from being homeless. Now, you take into the consideration of the court process of eviction, it'll be more than that, but when he don't have the money, at the end of the day, he got to go. Understand that. When people talking about their comforts, I put this much work in, I'm good, and I'm this and I'm that. The Lord preserves the wicked until the day of judgment. The Lord protects the wicked and the righteous until the day of judgment comes, and that's when the differentiation, the separation, and the distinctions will be made. Just because you eating and drinking don't mean that the Lord dealing with you. When this sun rises and shines, she shines on the righteous and she shines on the wicked. She has no prejudice in the energy and the light that she gives off. And she gives off enough energy to run America for a whole year in one day. That's another topic for another day. And that's why we tell you, you're dealing with devils. Okay? Let's get some more scriptures. I've been talking a little too long. So what is these different hyperinflationary circumstances gonna cause outside of food, outside of housing? Well, when you're dealing with food and when you're dealing with housing, everything outside of that, people lose their mind because these are the basics. These are the fundamentals. These are the basic things that you need. You need a house and you need food and water. A car, I would think that's a necessity, but to some people it's not a necessity, and to be honest, it's really not, because you have public transportation and you can get to and fro, even though it's cheaper to own a car or to have a car, okay? Let me get another scripture. Now Jacob's trouble, I'm gonna switch it up this week because I basically be going over the same thing, but that's what prophecy is. It's repetitive, it's redundant. Okay, but we always talk about. I always bring out the food and the water shortages and how people are gonna take to the streets, right? Things of that nature. But America's allies are going to rain down holy hell on her, bro. Hold on 1 minute. Her current allies. Now, we're going to go into natural disasters. We're going to go into things that's outside of the white man's control. And basically everything that can happen will happen. This is 2nd Esdras 15 and 40. The great and mighty clouds shall be puffed up full of wrath, and the star that they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein. And they shall pour out every high and eminent place in horrible star, fire and hail, and flying swords. Flying swords is not a natural disaster. Flying swords basically goes into, first off, missiles, and bullets. A sword is an instrument of war, and they didn't have missile and bullets in their dictionary back then. Understand that? And many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of wood, grass and metals, and their corn. So the crops are not going to be bringing forth fruit. Okay? Everything that you see that happens normally in nature is going to be weird. The birds are not going to migrate to the south. And this is me speaking as a man, because the Bible doesn't literally say that. But basically, things that happen naturally in nature is not going to occur in the times that we're living in. You'll go plant a seed and you won't get a crop. Nature is going to be against you because nature has a spirit that controls her. Okay? Let me read this again. And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of wood, grass of the meadows, and their corn. And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid. Babylon is America. America will be afraid, okay? America proud right now, but it only takes a couple of hours before that proudness turns into straight fear. If you ever go and look at one of those videos in the courtroom where those, a lawyer is proud, a judge is proud, a prosecutor is proud. But if you ever see a defendant break loose or somebody that's related to the victim break loose, that proudness leaves and they panic. They don't know what to do. And all of that power that exuded from them, right? It leaves when circumstances change that they wasn't trained for. Well, circumstances are going to change here in America. It's going to change in the whole world. It's going to change in this beast system. It's going to change amongst the dragon and the people of the dragon and things of that nature amongst this beast. It's going to change, and people are going to panic because they're accustomed to this beast and this dragon protecting them with their wings, metaphorically speaking, right? Like you could take the weakest man of a million and put a badge and a radio and a gun on his hip, and he's not weak anymore. Those fake securities are going to be taken away from this place, and you're going to have to deal with reality. Okay? They shall come to her and besiege her, I read that. Verse 47. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith Yahweh, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence to waste thy house with destruction and death. Anybody that helps America is going to suffer the death of America. Okay? America's allies are going to be in the same state that she's going to be in. She's just going to get it last. Let's get this real quick. The Bible always highlights the destruction of this place because she's so mighty and nobody can stand against her. And when she falls, it's going to be a free fall. Okay? And people not going to understand it. This is Revelation 18 and 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lighted with his glory. And he cried mightily with a sword, Salakia. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and it's become the habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and the caves of every unclean and hateful bird. Okay? But basically, it's going into this place, it's going to lose its strength. 911 will not work. The ambulance will not respond. Your neighbors, that's usually in everybody's business, is going to mind their own because they're going to have more than enough to deal with. The army is going to be busy overseas. The National Guard is going to have his hands full with overzealous zealots. You're going to have to take care of yourself. And you can't protect you against the things that Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai has in store for this place. The only entity that can protect you from the judgment that's set to befall upon America is the entity that's bringing the judgment down from heaven onto this place, spiritually and physically. Spiritually first. And that's Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. How do we get out of it? How do we be exempt? How do we make that separation and distinction? Well, you understand that we're not all the same. And they are they and we are us. We are not the same. I don't like my meat bloody. I like to cook it thoroughly. I don't like to go climbing in caves that have minimum to no light, trying to look for some opening at the bottom of the cave to go swim. I don't want to do that. I don't want to jump out of a plane. I don't want to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And there's certain wild Israelites that do these certain things, and the Lord doesn't have anything against them. But majority speaking, we're not the same. I don't want to go out and just control everybody I see just cause. If they at peace and I'm at peace, they got their shit. I got my shit. I'm good, man. Don't fuck with me. I'm not going to fuck with you. We are not the same. My people like women. A lot of people like to pick around the board. But in a nutshell, to answer that question, how do you make that distinction and separation so that you can be exempt in judgment? You understand when you don't think like these people, when you don't act like these people, and when you understand that this place is going to be destroyed, and your first prerequisite, you are an Israelite, which is a so-called Native American, a so-called Negro, or a so-called Hispanic, not including Spain, because those are Spaniards, okay? That's the prerequisites. But when you understand that you over here, and you committed and voluntary, then you can start doing something and you can start going somewhere mentally, because physically you can't help yourself. Trust me. You can buy 1,000 bullets. Watch this. Revelation 18 and 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, I just told you who my people are. That ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye be not receive of her plagues. So the Lord judges nations. Contrary to what your pastors teaches you, he does not only deal with the individual, he deals with nations. So if you have a nation of people that goes against the law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible, that nation as a whole has to be judged. So when you have a nation of people, which is a society, and the society goes into that majority basically catering to the the thought processes of the majority. So let me give you an example. In America, if you have sex with a 15-year-old, you're a pedophile. If you do that in Saudi Arabia, you're normal. But America trades with Saudi Arabia, and you have to see the hypocrisies, right? These Saudi princes and princesses, they come and they sit in the White House, and back at home, they got 12-year-old wives. And our people don't say anything about it because they are programmed and conditioned to only think to a certain level and not to have independent thought. But the Lord said when he comes back, he's coming back for the crowns of the world. He's not coming back to back the world up. He's coming back to tell the world, you were wrong. Americans, I want your crown and your power. And everybody that backed you up, you're going down. Okay? Europe, I want your power and your crown, and I want your people. Asia, the same thing. Arabia, the same thing. If you don't understand religion, understand science. Homosexuality cannot exist and the world exists simultaneously. Reproduction is the way that we brought here. Opposites attract. You put two like magnets together, they're going to repel. Just like if you put two normal men together in a bedroom setting, they're going to repel. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. And there are many. There are many. First and foremost, you took the Jews and you put them into captivity under yourselves. Okay, not just the Jews, you took the 12 tribes and put them under captivity. You taught them things that was unsanitary to them spiritually that will make them follow you. And you know that you're going down, and you know that when you go down, you're going to go down swinging, but you want as many motherfuckers to go down with you as possible when you go down swinging. And that's why we got the scriptures to refer back to read, and to understand and to comprehend, and after that, to teach, and to repeat that process. So when you're teaching, cut your beard off. When you're teaching, it's okay to eat everything. When you're teaching, it's okay to be with another man or another woman. Nobody can judge you. When you're teaching, you can believe and practice whatever you want to believe. You have spiritual students. You have followers. You have people and Israelites that's going against their heritage. And it was taken away from us. And that's the only reason that you can try to bring us some kind of a doctrine, because our heritage was taken away from us. And we're going to bring that out as well. But, matter of fact, I'm going to the wrong book. I'm talking, doing it. I got a real small Bible, and I don't have my phone. That phone could spoil your ass, too. I'm telling you. All right? This is the book of John 8 and 44. Where is it? Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there was no truth. Well, you know what? I'm reading too fast. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. So the things that Americans teach, preach, and push, that's the things that our Israelite brothers and sisters are following. They follow democracy. They follow the Democrats and Republicans. They follow the ways of the world. They eat what they want to eat. They sleep with who they want to sleep with, and they do what they want to do. And they end up dying behind that shit. Their sin end up manifesting into physical things that kill them. They go sleep with other men's women. They get STDs. They disregard the law. They get high blood pressure. They get diabetes. They get all kind of other things, gout and all kind of other shit. Okay? Because the law was given to them, which means the law only has an effect on them. But we're coming into a time where the law has to take an effect on the people that captured us and brought us over here. Understand this. And that's why people don't understand spiritual things. Israelites was brought to America because they was guilty spiritually. But us being over here in America, if you cut spirituality out and you deal with straight carnality, we are victims. Right? But only the 1/3 understands the connection between the two. Spiritually, we are here to work out our soul salvation. Carnally, we are prisoners of the so-called white man. And at the end of the day, the Lord is going to use both of these groups of people to get rid of the desirables of Israel, 2/3, and to get rid of Esau himself. Esau is going to be charged with the conditions that we are dealing with as a nation over here in America. And 2/3 of our people are going to go down with him because they are complicit with him, don't see a problem with it, and won't turn to their own power. You in a trick bag, bruh. And if you don't have enough understanding, wisdom, knowledge, and to get to that point, you have to have humbleness that you don't know shit. And if you don't get that, you're going to die here. Because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. For he is a liar and the father of it. So it's telling you that he is the father of lies. And that takes you back into who? Cain. Cain lied when his daddy asked him about it. The scripture just called him a murderer from the beginning. Cain is the progenitor of Esau Edom, whether you believe it or not. Abel is the progenitor of the Israelites, whether you believe it or not. You had Cain and Abel in the way beginning. After that, right, you had Jacob and Esau. And now we here. And now you have Jacob, which has been metamorphed into Israel. And you got Esau, who has been metamorphed from a serpent into a dragon. And you got the Lord that's going to come back and set everything the way that it's supposed to be set up. And he's going to take care of his children. Because his children are at a disadvantage because we're living in the devil's world. Let's get that real quick. Matter of fact, I want another scripture I want to get. But that scripture in Job when it says that the world is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges. If not him, who is he? Right? The world is Esau's right here, right now. The CIA is in every corner of the earth. You have army bases in every corner of the earth. And on top of those physical things, it's mental. You have his airwaves and his music and his entertainment and his dogma going out to all four corners. If I don't have to fight you, why fight you? Right? if I could give you a book that make you agree with me so I don't have to use my sword, I'd rather give you this book. And that book ultimately is considered a sword against those people that don't know what they read and don't know what they signing up to and signing up for. All of those people, all of these niggas in America are signing up to go to war against Yahweh Shai in World War III. Let's get that in the Apocrypha. It's the second Ezra, 13. I'm going to start from the top. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof, and I beheld, and lo, that a man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. Now that's millions. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were under him. Now this is the Lord, Yahweh Shai, coming back, right? In the last times, in the last seconds, who the world calls Jesus Christ. And what he coming back on is what the world call a UFO. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it filleth the fire. Now that his mouth is represented as the weaponry system in the UFO that he's coming on to, pursuant to the movie Independence Day, when those UFOs was coming down and shooting out that blast of laser guided energy. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. Now these are the different armies that's going to be congregated together to fight one another. And then when they see the Lord coming out of the heavens, they're going to cast their differences to the side and attack one another. And our people, Israelites, are going to be a part of that number. The same people that the Lord came to deliver from destruction is going to be destroyed by him personally. A lot of these dumb niggas that you see walking around with their pants hanging off their ass, with them guns hanging out, them guns hanging out, those clips, those extended clips with the Dracos, when you go to the store, they're going to be drafted. The violence that they perpetrate against one another, they're not going to perpetrate it against those army military men that come draft them in peace. They're going to take their ass and they're going to go report to the, just like they go reporting when it's time for them to go to prison. And I don't understand that shit. But I do. That nigga Big Meech, the rat, he had an invitation from the Mexican cartels to come and hide out and never be found around the time he got caught. But he's such a coon that he came and turned himself in, bruh. Like everybody do. But when they dealing with each other, they ready to go out and go to war. They say, I'll die before I let a nigga play me. That's what they say. But they willingly go turn themselves in. This nigga Meech had $100 million at his disposal. And he had the cartel to help him out. And he went and turned himself in to the white man to go do his bid. I'm not telling you what to do and what not to do. I'm just telling you that our people don't have independent thought, and our people look at the so-called white man as their father and as their daddy, and they look at us, no matter our age, as their little brother that they can't tell them nothing. Okay? And that's what's going to cause them to go out there and get destroyed by their big brother, Yahweh Shai. Really, their father. Yahweh Shai was Adam, man. He's your carnal father, and Yahweh is your spiritual father, man. Got a scripture in the Apocrypha, and it's basically they say, matter of fact, what's that passage? I don't got my phone with me. Damn, that'd be a nice tool. But the scripture where it says, all of us came from Adam, even the chosen. And it's basically going into we're not all the same. No, God dang it, gotta have your tools, man. That's all right. I'm gonna be strapped up next week, Abaratazar. But let's pick up. Let's pick up to what we left off at, pursuant to 2nd Ezra 13. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. That's talking about the fathership, what Americans will call a UFO mothership. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. Durst goes into dare. They was afraid. They understood he was out of this world, and they dared to fight him anyway. And that's because they're controlled by him. If they wasn't controlled by him, and if they actually had free will, they would have fled the battlefield. But the Lord put his spirit on these people to fight anyway. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude. Now this is talking about the Lord's weapon that came out of the UFO. So they telling you it was basically concentrated heat, concentrated energy, mixed with fire, mixed with sparks, just mixed with and it all came together to be a destructive power that no man can withstand, or no instrument or vehicle that he makes can withstand, right? Hell, I bet you Leviathan couldn't withstand this here. And fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up, every one. So the war was over. All the world, all the governments of the world, all the armies of the world were destroyed in less than 5 seconds. Okay? In less than 5 seconds. All right, 1 minute. This is the book of, and listen, what I'm about to read. Matter of fact, let me make sure. Yeah, what I'm about to read is the precursor to 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, what I just read. This shows how they got to the point to be destroyed by the Lord. Now this is Joel 3 and 10. It's talking to the governments of the world. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither, because thy mighty ones Come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Now, this is the precursor. This is the scripture that goes before the scripture that I just read in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. Right? So this is the build-up. And 2nd Ezra 13th chapter is the end. So the Lord's telling you, I want you to turn your workers into fighters. I want you to convert your aluminum and your metal from buildings and things of that nature into weaponry. I want you to turn your countries into a war machine, and I want you to meet here with one another to fight one another. And before y'all start fighting each other, you're gonna see me, and you're gonna be so afraid that you're gonna cast your differences to the side, and you're gonna throw everything at me as possible, and it's not even gonna chip my pinky finger. Now, and my retaliation is gonna wipe out all of y'all. And you know what's crazy about that? The world is gonna see when the Lord comes back and destroys the world. It's gonna be televised, right? And you still gonna have Israelites that don't get down with the Constitution, which is the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You're still gonna have Israelites that gotta be put down after they see the power of the Lord, bro. And of course, for 1,000 years, you're always gonna have Edomite uprisings. You can't get around that, you know? But with that, I hope that this was edifying to somebody, and I want to give all lifted and honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakwakwadosh, double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone who rule and teach well, and to the other Achaemenid pushing this truth into the four winds. Keep pushing, Akim, call me Asherala, Abab, Abab. Until next time, Akiyam.